memory of the previous experiences that you say one must have prior to the coming of David. So I'm a little bit confused. Was that an adumbration? Was that a foreshadowing of the event that must take place? I will say to him now, as he is in this office, yes. It's the most wonderful foreshadowing. For when it happens, you will be so stirred you will awake from the state. It won't happen that way. It will happen out of your own skull. Your skull will explode. That's how it happens. The whole thing is contained within man, within the skull of man. And when David comes in the true form, he actually comes after an explosion in your own skull, as though the whole thing came to an end. And then when the whole thing settles, he stands before you, and he calls you Father. And you know he is your son, and he knows you are his Father. And then by this relationship, you know you are God. So this is the most marvelous adumbration, the foreshadowing, in a not altogether conclusive or immediately evident way. But who knows the time? It could happen now in the fullness of itself, tonight, tomorrow. I am not going to predict when it actually is going to happen. But I do know it will happen. He's been given a sign. Show me a sign of thy favor. And the sign came. So I tell you, tonight's subject is on faith. And faith is something that we must all grasp the significance of it. For without faith, it is impossible to please him. And if he makes all things, good, bad, and indifferent, and makes it through faith, find out the mystery of faith. Now, faith does not give reality to the unseen things. It is loyalty to the unseen reality. For all things exist. If you only saw it, everything in eternity exists. Man exists. Man is part of the eternal structure of the universe. He doesn't grow out of a worm, as our evolutionists say. Evolution is confined to the affairs of man, not to the creation of God. Yes, I take a hoe, and then I turn from a hoe, digging a little land with a hoe, into a tractor. Then I will find something far better than the tractor. So I will swim across the ocean, or rather swim across a little river. And then I'll find a raft that will take me. Then I'll find a little boat that will take me. Then I'll put a sail on it, and that'll do better. Then I will take something more than the sail, and I'll find something with steam. Then I'll go beyond the steam, and I'll find nuclear energy. And then this is simply evolution in the affairs of man. So instead of walking across the continent, I now fly across the continent. That's evolution in the affairs of man. But there is no evolution in the creation of God. It still remains a theory, a marvelous theory, and we're all under compulsion to study it and, all right, to pass our lessons in evolution, as though the thing was proven. There isn't one single bit of evidence in the world to support the theory, the hypothesis of evolution. Not one. Yet it's compulsory in all the universities of the world, as though it had been proven. In the affairs of man, yes, but not in the creation of God. Man as he is, and all things as they are eternal parts of the structure of the universe. Eternity exists, and all things in eternity independent of creation, which was an act of mercy. So when God said, let us make man in our image, man existed. He didn't say, let us make something and call it man. Let us make man. Man existed in our image. And God became man. There's no way to make him in his image until God actually becomes man. So God became as we are, that we may be as he is. And he's not pretending that he's a man. He has to completely forget that he is God and lose all memory of his power that is God, and take upon himself the weaknesses and the limitations of man. And in this, he now is forming himself into his own likeness, which is God. He is raising within himself that which he became, redeeming everything in this world. That is the power that is God. Now, while we are here as man, you want to be, and you name it. You want to be successful in the world of Caesar, in dollars and cents, nothing wrong with it. You want to be a successful doctor, successful lawyer, I don't care what it is. You want to be? Well, then formulate in your mind's eye what it would be like if it were true. How would you see the world if you were now the man that you would like to be? See it in your mind's eye, and then yield yourself completely to the depth of your own being. How do I do that? Simply fall asleep in the assumption. I dare to assume that I am the man that at the moment reason denies, and then fall asleep in that assumption, leaving it completely to the depth of my own being to externalize it in my world. I will wake tomorrow morning under compulsion to do certain things which I had not formulated, I hadn't determined. I'll find I'll meet the right people. I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do the other. And it all adds up towards the externalization of my assumption. Just as in his case, he now has a sign of God's favor. The depth of his own being responded to his abandonment. It's a complete self-abandonment. It is, and I can't commit myself to what I do not love. I can't do it. So if my idea of God does not bring forth within me the sense of love, well, then I have the wrong God. If I know that he's infinite love, believe me, he is. But the day will come, you'll have the actual experience, and you will know that God is all love. I stood in his presence, and God is man. The world thinks, oh, God is not a man. He's an impersonal force, they're saying. He is this, he is that. God is man. The Ancient of Days, without beginning, without end. As he said concerning David, he said, although he was a youth, he seemed to have no beginning, no end. He seemed like the Ancient of Days, and yet he was young, as described in the book of Samuel. Here is this youth, just as described in the book of Samuel, the 16th chapter, the 1st Samuel. That's the one I saw. That's the one you're going to see. Well, where is he now? He is within you. He put eternity into the minds of men. Yet so, that man cannot find out what he has done from the beginning to the end. That's what he put into the mind of man. What did he put there? The Father and the Son. God himself entered death's door, the human skull. And he laid down in the grave the human skull. And he is dreaming the dream of life that man is dreaming. And in the end he will awake. And when he awakes, he is the being in whom he entered. The being in whom he awakes. So you are John, he awakes as you. And because he was a father before he entered you, when he awakes as you are a father. And because his son before he entered you was David, when you awake, your son is David. David of biblical fame is the Son of God. That's the Messiah. That's the Christ. That's the power and the wisdom of God. So within you is that power. Within you is that wisdom to do anything that you desire in this world. So this is the faith of which I speak. How do I do it? You can sit right here. When you go to bed at night, as you're told in the 4th Psalm, commune with your own self upon your bed and be silent. You don't commune with another, you commune with your own self. That's God. For the self of man is God.